Welcome to the Chill Chats. I'm Ashley Rose,
And I'm Jenna.
and we are two halves of a chronic shit show. Life has been lifing for both Jenna and I lately, so we're just going to jump right into our rose and thorn before we get into our Q&A. Jenna, would you like to share your rose and thorn?
Sure. I'm going to start with my rose first.
Mhm.
And my rose this week is I just finished another semester of school.
Woo! Yes, she did.
So that's exciting. And then I start internship in a week too, which is exciting.
Yes.
I'll
You're
be
doing what
working
you
with
were meant to
clients.
do. I
Yeah,
know.
I think that's like the most exciting thing. I am obviously nervous, scared, but really
Mhm.
excited. I feel like I'm finally doing what I'm meant to be doing. We are one step closer, and it is just exciting.
That is so cool. I'm so proud of you. I know this semester took your sanity.
Yeah.
Took the remainder of your sanity, but you made it through.
I did, and, like, my class load will decrease, so that's exciting.
Yes.
I still have classes, but it will decrease by at least 2 classes, so
Thank
that's,
God. I want my
yeah,
friend back. Thank
exciting.
you.
Yeah, and this is tell me if this is not, like, a chronic illness thing, but I have night classes, but we moved to Wednesdays instead of Mondays and Tuesdays, and in the summer, we get done at 8, so I'm like, "I can go to bed earlier."
Yes, honestly, slay. We love an early bedtime. We're currently transitioning ourselves into an earlier bedtime because we're trying to be better people. And it has changed our life. I think we genuinely wake up feeling better going to bed at like 9,
Yeah.
9:30. Like it definitely like people are
There
onto
there is a
something.
study that people, like, get their best sleep before midnight, and I am one
Boom.
of those people.
And I used to not be. I used to be a freaking night owl. I would be going to bed at like 1, 2 o'clock. I am not the same bitch I was. I am changed, okay? So I think it is maybe a little bit of a chronic illness thing, but also maybe just a little bit of maturing, dare I say. So I'm so happy that you have a lighter course load, I guess you could say, but that you're almost done and you're starting internship. That's so cool.
Yeah, we'll be doing, like, 20 hours of internship, but, like, my
Yeah.
class load will be lower. It'll just be different, but I'm excited.
Yeah.
And then my thorn is, I think I'm just feeling very medically burned out.
Mm.
I have had a lot of appointments that haven't ended up going the way I hoped, and I have a lot of appointments next week, and honestly, in this next month, that is just kind of exhausting. I
Mhm.
have an injury where the only way to fix it is surgery and, like, the mental toll of that, and then there's been some other test results that has come back recently that are just like, "We'll need more, tests done and things,"
Mhm.
and I think it just is really taxing, and it's like, yes, I have doctor's appointments all the time, but it's not like your yearly checkup kinda thing. There's a
Mhm.
lot of weight, and I may be getting 2 diagnoses that, like diagnosis?
Diagnoses,
Di
diagnoses. The plural of diagnosis.
whatever it's called, I might be getting 2 diagnoses,
Mhm.
and the emotional weight of that or, like, the long-term thing where it's just, like, kind of exhausting, so I think that's just my thorn because I am sick of having something literally be wrong with my body all the time.
You're sick of being sick.
Yeah, like, it's
Yeah.
one thing after another, and it's never a break. Granted, if I don't ever go to the doctors or get testing, then I won't ever
Jenna.
know, but, like, I was thinking about that the other day where it's like, I'm sure so many people have other things wrong they don't know about. It's just they don't go to the doctors
That's
or,
a
like,
good
they aren't
point.
as aware of their body. Like,
Uh-huh.
I am very in tune with my body, so I notice when things are off,
Mhm.
and then I see a doctor, and then it's like, "Oh, fuck, something's wrong," but it's like, I'm aware and going kinda thing,
Ugh,
but
the bliss of ignorance, I wish.
yeah.
No, but it is really frustrating to deal with, and there is a burnout that comes with it, and, of course, I would love to just ignore all of our issues,
Mhm.
right? But, like, that's not healthy. That's not the reality of it either, is that, like, now that we do know something's going on, like, you with, like, all the stuff, you can't just ignore it, and so,
Yeah.
there is a heavy toll, especially balancing life too.
I think too, the grief aspect of it, of like, "Oh, here's
Yes.
another thing I'm gonna have to grieve if this is what happens,"
Yes.
or I remember the person that ordered the MRI for my hip was like, "Well, would you be willing to?" And I'm like, "Well, I hate MRIs." I hate
Yeah.
MRIs
How
because
many
usually
MRIs have you done?
you wanna
Jesus.
know? I looked it up last night. I have 17 results of MRIs in my chart
From
since
the last couple of years.
2022.
Girl,
17.
17?
And I was like,
Who
I
are
don't
you
really
competing against here?
I don't know.
You,
I
yourself, and you.
w an all-time record for most MRIs, but I was
Oh my
like,
god.
I don't really wanna do MRIs because they always show something wrong. She's like, "Well, not always." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, this one
My
showed
track
something wrong
record.
on my hip." So, like, track record, yes, where I think there's just a lot of grief and trauma associated with getting all
Yes.
these tests too. That's an emotional toll, but it's okay. We get through one way or another. I have a shit ton of
Mhm.
doctor's appointments next week, so we'll be doing that.
Just one foot in front of the other, one day at a time, that's all
Yeah,
you can do, but I am proud of you for, facing it and doing the doctor's appointments, getting the tests done, and we all are sending good energy your way for results and relief too from whatever does come from it, so
I appreciate that. But
yeah.
what about you?
Oh, on the fly, I would say my thorn is how small my bladder has become. I don't know if the okay,
Do you have a
wait.
UTI?
No, don't
Are you
put that
sure?
on
A
me. Yes,
silent
I'm
one?
very positive.
Okay.
No, I don't have that. But what it is that your girl is destined and has put in the work to become that bitch for summer, okay? So I have committed to drinking a gallon a day. Now, what does that mean? That means that I
Ew.
am yeah. That means that I am committing to also being in the restroom a lot because my bladder is so small. And sometimes when this happens, I don't know if it's an MS thing because I know that can happen. I do know that your
Mhm.
bladder can spasm to where you feel like you have to go to the bathroom all the time, but it genuinely I have to go to the bathroom all the time and there's like it's just it is what it is. And so I think from drinking so much water, I am living in the restroom. But that's okay because we're a healthy bitch. But yeah, drinking a gallon a day has a thorn. I do feel like my skin is better for it, and I feel some benefit perhaps, I don't know. I'm just trying to be hydrated and be healthy. That's it. So that would be my silly as fuck thorn.
No, but so valid though. I've been drinking more water too because I got an ice maker, so it's like
Oh my god, yes.
I'm in the bathroom all the time.
It's so annoying, and then also every time I go to leave the house, I'm like, "Well, let me just go first because I don't like using public restrooms, okay?" So I'm just living in the bathroom. I don't know, but that is my thorn. Cheers to drinking water. I have it next to me all the time, but I am doing really well with that. So I mean, it's a win, but also a thorn. And then for my rose, I would say I'm just excited for what the future holds.
Aw.
I think that I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a Scorpio full moon that we had recently, but I do feel like I'm just excited for the next chapter of the life and whatever comes of the 2026 with but I am hopeful. I feel I don't know, I feel like a generalized hopefulness in a world that is a dumpster fire right now. So I feel like the singular daisy in the field of like rot. Does that make sense? I'm just kind of like holding on to hope against all odds. But I feel good, and I feel like that has to be my rose. I'm not gonna question where it's coming from too hard because I'm sure if I were to think hard enough, I'd be like, "Well, you know what? Yeah, no, fuck all of this." But I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna live in my little bubble of, "You know what? It's all gonna work out." Especially the things that don't work out because I do wanna view no's and closed doors as opportunities and redirections. So that's what I'm focusing on. So this is a great way to actually start our Q&A that we did receive these questions from people on my stories and Jenna's stories. So we just kind of combined them. Before answering these questions, just so you know, we are answering them not from a expert angle, but from lived shared experiences. This is not medical advice. We're not going to tell you what to do or how to do it, but we are just sharing our personal experiences and take everything that we say as a grain of salt. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't.
If anything here makes you want to ask a question about something, you should go to your doctor and your medical team because they know you and your case of MS or any chronic illness the best.
Yes, and I think that that is so important just in general. It's just about sharing your lived experiences and getting away from, "Well, this is the truth and this is what you need to do," more so of like a, "This is what helped me and this is what I'm going through," and just kind of connecting through our experiences, and that's what we're here to answer. So we received this question, "How do you navigate the pressure from other MSers about treatment choices? Bullying is rampant." Well, I didn't even know that bullying was happening.
I
That's
did.
terrible. Jenna did. We have different experiences on that, I guess, because I had no idea, and I'm so sorry that you have felt bullied by anybody. I mean, at the end of the day, nobody knows your body like you do, not even your medical team. Like, you know your body best and you know
Mhm.
what's good for you, and if you're feeling pressured to do absolutely anything, like, no, walk away
And at
from
the end
that.
of the day, this is a very individualized disease. It is
Mhm.
a snowflake disease. Your options that you have can be based off your doctor's thoughts, insurance. There's so many different things that go into why and how someone chooses treatment. It's all based on you and your needs. It is really hard, and I've definitely struggled with it, but I just kind of had to switch my mindset of these
Mhm.
other people don't know what you're going through or your personal experience if you're asking for advice. Like, they are giving it based off their experience, or some people may be a little more prone or hateful towards
Biased.
one just
Yeah.
mode of treatment or things, and you really just have to take everything with a grain of salt and recognize that that is their projection, and you need to learn to not take it on.
Yeah, you should walk away from anything that doesn't feel right or sit well with you and, tune out the noise, tune out the fluff. Like, at the
Mhm.
end of the day, like, this is your journey, your own journey. Whether you live with MS, lupus, endometriosis, whatever it is, there's going to be so much noise out there. People are going to tell you, "Well, this worked for me, so it's going to work." No. What works for one person might not work for you. It doesn't mean that it doesn't work, but if you try something and it doesn't work, move on to the next, right?
Yeah, it's
Keep
not best
going
for
until
you.
you find something. It's not for you, and that's okay. Doesn't mean that it's not for them, but it is just one of those things that I have never understood it because I've never felt the need to pressure anybody to do absolutely anything. So the fact that there are people out there doing that, I I'm just floored. I had no idea it was happening.
And I'm in a few Facebook group pages, and even, like, the other day, I felt so bad because this one person was asking their opinions about this treatment, and they're like, "I don't really know what to do, like, I got told this and blah, blah, blah," and they're just asking for genuine advice, and then, like, the comments were so mean
Me
about the
Yeah.
treatment and just kinda, like, fear-mongering, and then someone commented on it of like, "Hey, I've actually had a really good experience, I haven't had problems, and just remember the people in your this, like, group may not have had the best experience, and the people who have had good experiences aren't necessarily in these groups talking about it,"
Mhm.
and they probably had, like,
Attacked.
100 comments just attacking them for saying
Oh
that.
my
It
gosh.
was actually ridiculous, so take that with a grain of salt that, like, a lot of these people aren't speaking out about good experiences or X, Y, and Z because of bullying or nasty things, or they just aren't seeking out social media support.
Or that space just isn't for you too. And
Yeah.
I feel like you can remove yourself from it. And it goes back to what you were saying before in one of the episodes. I think we were talking about this. You can walk
Yeah.
away, tune out that noise, tune that out because you have to return to what you know and what feels right for you and not feeling pressured to do a treatment, not feeling pressured to do a certain treatment and not feeling pressured to not do treatment, like just releasing all of that and putting up a wall or not a I don't wanna say a wall, but just putting this protection around yourself.
You have to build thick skin a little bit and recognize that what people are saying has nothing to do with you, and they don't know you personally, and stand
Yeah.
with what you know.
Right, exactly, and removing yourself from situations that don't feel well, because fuck bullying. Who's bullying in 2026? I mean, Jesus,
A lot of
get a
people.
grip. Get a grip. I know, I was gonna say, I was like, "Actually, now that I think about it, a
Our
lot of
president
people."
who's, like, encouraging it.
I was gonna say, I was like, "These bullies, like, bring back public shaming, okay? Bring back shaming people because no, it's not okay to bully." So I just no. Moving on, next question. How did you handle your diagnosis when you first received it? Not well, bitch. Not well. If you want to know more about our diagnosis stories, you can revisit episode 2 and 3 of my story and Jenna's story, where we dive. Oh my God, I can't speak. We dive deep into our diagnosis and kind of the first thoughts, but I will just say I just fell into a denial. I didn't believe it. I didn't think I had
Yeah.
it. My experience when I was diagnosed wasn't great, so I immediately didn't trust the opinion. I didn't think I had it. It just was like a gut punch. And I know for some people it can feel like a breath of fresh air, right? Like, "Oh my God, finally, I have a diagnosis so I can get treatment, I can move forward with my life." Like, some people are searching for it. I was not. I had no idea anything was wrong. I just know that I woke up one day, there was a little shadow in my peripheral. I didn't know what was happening, but I still at that moment didn't think anything was actually like I didn't think of multiple sclerosis. So, it was a gut punch for me.
Yeah, and I think for me, I had a little of an interesting thing because it was like I had my year of, like, ups and downs of not
Oh,
knowing
yeah.
until I got my diagnosis. So, like, that year I was a wreck and it was not great, but then once I got the diagnosis, I was like,
Mhm.
"Okay, we're gonna be, like, very positive and do X, Y, and Z and make it
Yes.
whatever." So, it is very individual, and I think it changes all the time, but like Ashley said, we did talk about it in more details in episode 2
Mhm.
and 3.
Yes, I would go back and I would listen, but it definitely is a process. So, if you are in the beginning of your diagnosis, trust we've been there. We know how it feels. It is a process. Stick with it.
Give yourself grace.
Yeah, give yourself grace. Absolutely. Another question that we got was how did you decide what treatment to get on? Well, Jenna's like,
Depends.
what do you mean? The first
I
one was
was
thrown
given
at me. I
yeah,
didn't decide the first one.
I was gonna say I had a short list of 4 to pick from and told to pick what I wanted without help of my doctors, and then once I picked, they were kinda like, "Oh, actually, you can't go on it," so
Yeah, they're like, "Actually, you're positive for this, so you can't go on it." I will say that I think when it comes down to deciding which treatment to go on, I feel like now, present day, versus 7 years ago, 7 and a half-ish years ago, when I was diagnosed, there are so many more on the market. I think
Mhm.
collaborating with your doctor can be very helpful. Sometimes the doctors are like, "Research, tell me," but you can push back and say, "But what do you
Yeah.
think? Knowing my chart, what do you think would best suit me?" And then you have to get really honest with yourself. Like, what are you willing to tolerate? Are you good with giving yourself shots? I was not. I
No.
didn't like it. I moved on. Then I was like, I could take a pill a day. I'm
Nope.
responsible enough for a pill a day. Jenna, she's not.
No.
Me, I can. So I tried that. That quickly did not work for me. So the next thing was, okay, I can do an infusion. Did I go for the biggest fucking infusion possible? Limtrada? Yeah. I was like, go big or go home. So, just getting honest with yourself with what you're willing to tolerate is really helpful when it comes down to deciding what treatment to get on, but also collaborating with your doctor. And then also, I mean, we've spoken about this before, but really quickly, just gathering information, ask your communities, reach out to others. Sometimes the treatments will host free luncheons that you can ask questions to a doctor and to others who are on the medication. Like there are so many resources out there. We also have touched base on that before. There was a whole episode on it.
I was just gonna say I think it's just very individualized, and you just have to really think about what fits for you and your
Yes.
lifestyle and what you
Mhm.
want, how much you want to think about your illness and X, Y, and Z.
Ooh, that's a good point. I will say that when I was taking a pill a day, my mentor, my energy healer, my blessing of this world, Lynn, she helped me so much mentally prepare for that too, because it is a reminder every single day that you
Mhm.
take a pill. I had to really work on changing my mindset. And so she helped me. She was like, every time you take it, just look at it and say, this is healing me. And that
Mhm.
blew my mind, and every single morning I would take it. It's almost like how I take Synthroid now, which is funny because I still take a pill a day, but every single time I would take my Gilenya, I would be like, "This is healing me," and I would take it, and it just changed something in me. I don't know, like, I just felt like a it was just nice. It was nicer than, like, being like, oh, MS," and, like, throwing it down the hatch, you know? So, that's just
Mhm.
something, throwing that out there. And I feel like the same could be done. I call my infusion healing juice. I'm like, "Alright, it's time for my healing juice," and it goes into my arm, you know? Like, just kind of viewing anything that we deal with chronic illness as, like, "This is helping me, this is healing me," can really be beneficial in the long run.
I feel like this question goes with it. What DMT are you currently on, and how has that experience been?
Ooh, I'm currently on Ocrevus. I just had my infusion last week. Was it last week? I think so.
I think
Um,
so.
yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, time is fake, but I just had my infusion, and honestly, I will say that this infusion took me out, besties. It took me out, and I've heard that this happens, and I got so many responses when I asked the community. I said, "How many other people get like knocked the freak out?" Roughly, it like takes about a week of like fatigue and just like not feeling your best, and then you feel so much better. And I definitely feel like that week it took me out, and then I was like, "Okay, I can do this." So again, I'm on Ocrevus. I don't mind the infusion. This was the first time that I didn't have any reactions, like, at all, like, nothing, which I thought was really a win for me
That's
because usually
exciting.
it is exciting. I'm like, "Oh my god, am I healing?" Like, "What?" It's all the water I've been drinking.
It
So,
makes a difference.
it does make a difference. They do say to go into their infusions hydrated, so
Like, I usually have 2 bottles of Pedialyte each the first
yes.
2 days before my Ocrevus to hydrate.
Mhm. Also, electrolytes can be so helpful.
Yeah.
Love them, love them. But yeah, what DMT are you on, Jenna?
I am currently on Ocrevus, but I will be switching in 2 months to Mavenclad.
Yes.
I think Ocrevus has served me very well. It's done its job, it stopped the lesions, but
Mhm.
ever since I've started Ocrevus, my body has not reacted well to it. Like, you were talking about this is your first time getting fatigued. When I first had it, it took me out for about 2 months.
Yeah.
And, like, I
No.
slowly have gotten to the point where my body doesn't react. If I get steroids, the last infusion I had, my body reacted, but I
Mhm.
wasn't allowed to get steroids because I had a kidney infection, so that was a whole different thing where I just am ready to try something different. I know Ocrevus works for me, and I can always come back to it. That's one thing too, when you go on a DMT, it's not something you're committing to for the rest of your life,
Yeah.
and there have been things where it has just made my life a little more challenging, like getting sick,
Mhm.
getting more UTIs and
Oh
stuff
my
like that,
gosh,
so
getting
I
sick. Ugh.
yeah. So, I don't know, I'm excited to try something different. That's not to say Ocrevus doesn't work. It has done its job. Like, I have not
Mhm.
gotten any new lesions since starting, but I'm just a little tired of being immunocompromised at the moment, so we're gonna try
Yeah,
something else, and if it doesn't work, we'll come back.
I love that, and that kinda just goes hand in hand with what we were saying about, like, choosing a DMT for you. You just have to decide what works for you because everyone's so individual, and, getting sick often sucks, like, it just sucks.
Yeah, and
So it
especially,
does
like,
make
the
me
career path I'm going to be in where I'm gonna be
yeah.
interacting with people every day, it's like, I don't wanna be immunocompromised long term
Mm,
or, like, constantly decreasing my immune system since my levels have significantly gone down
yeah,
since I've started Ocrevus, so it's like, I kinda want a break, and that's just me personally, some people don't mind, so it is very
right.
individualized.
Absolutely, and that goes perfectly with the next question that we received, which was, "Has treatments or infusions caused you to get sick more often or change your immune system experience?" Yeah.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, like, point blank, yes. I have been very vocal about how annoyed I am. I am so annoyed at getting sick so often. I have to knock on wood, sorry, I'm superstitious. I have not been sick. I have not gotten sick since maybe February, which I thought was crazy because February was such a stressful month. Like, we were flying back and forth. My husband was in the hospital and I did not get sick. And I have not been sick. So it comes and goes. I don't know what it is, but it is one of those things that like I definitely have changed how I go about things
Mm.
in regards to making sure that I help my body the best I can without spiking my immune system because, of course, when you're on an immunosuppressant, you don't wanna take things that, you know, boost it up or anything like that, so, like, that's tricky when you're like, "Well, I wanna have an immune system to fight infections, but you also don't wanna boost it," so it's a very fine line, but personally, I found what works for me, and, I just kind of I go with the flow, and it is what it is, but at this moment, I'm still on Ocrevus, and it hasn't swayed me to change. Like, to have I thought about it? Abso-fucking-lutely. I've thought about changing just for the mere fact of getting sick so much. Like, I went to my neurologist appointment, and I was literally like, "I'm tired of getting sick. What are my options? Can I just stop treatment?" He was like, "No." So, yeah,
I
we
think too,
adapt.
it's like one of those things that you have to learn how to adapt, like living with
Yes.
MS, you're constantly learning how to adapt. And like
Mhm.
when I had my infusions, I knew I wasn't going to want to be around a lot of people
Yes.
right after X, Y, and Z. And like the last one I had, well, two ones I had to go to a funeral where I had to fly the same week
Yes.
of
Mhm.
my infusion, and I ended up getting COVID and really sick. So it's like that was something where I couldn't control. And like it happens, but you just have to be aware of your surroundings. Like, when people are sick around me, I know, like, set my boundaries of, "Hey, I really can't be with you." So it's just one thing where,
You
yes, you
weigh
may
the
get
pros
sick
and
more,
cons.
but you just need to learn how to adapt, and it may be hard at
Yeah.
first, but it gets easier.
It does. You just have to weigh the risks and rewards of it. It's so interesting that you said that because I just had my treatment, right? And there was an Ashnikko. Any Ashnikko fans out there? Hi, we're besties. There was an Ashnikko concert on Tuesday that I really wanted to go to. And I really sat with myself. Like, I had severe FOMO. I was like, "Oh, I want to go so bad." But I was like, "I just had treatment." And I was like, "You know what? I love her. I love her music, and I do believe in the power of live music healing me." but I don't think I don't want to.
I'm proud
I
of you
don't
for
wanna
not
risk
going
it.
because I
Thank
went to a
you.
concert once after an infusion and I got COVID, and the person that I went to, I was around for the whole week after, and they
Oh,
didn't get
no.
COVID, but I did, so it is
See,
something you learn.
you learn, and I mean, it sucks that reality of other people are not thinking about that. They're not being like, "Oh, if I go to this concert, I'm gonna get sick, and I have to, like, weigh if I want to get sick right now or not, or if I'm willing to risk getting sick or not," and it sucks that that's our reality, and I'm okay with that,
Mhm.
and I've learned to adapt and be okay.
And it's helped me build boundaries.
Yes, yes,
Because it's like,
absolutely.
oh, like with other people, it's like I've had to really build my boundaries. And it's like you learn who respects you and who doesn't. And then that helps you kind of with
Yes.
friendships of like who's around you, who's better, X, Y, and Z kind of
Oh
thing.
my gosh,
So,
that's actually one of the questions, but we'll get to that in a little bit.
yes, we'll get to that.
But this one was a sub question. Another person actually asked, "Has treatment caused any other illnesses?" Mine currently Ocrevus has not, other than like, a little upper respy, little cute little tiny little ones. But Limtrada, when I was on it, there was a risk, and I took the risk, that risk and reward, um, of possibly developing a thyroid condition, and I did. I developed a cute little Graves' disease, Gravis, however you wanna say it, but I did develop that. I ended up taking out my entire thyroid, as a way to stop it, and I don't regret it. I take Synthroid every single day. I, am very on top of that, but I don't regret my Limtrada choice because I had 4 beautiful years relapse-free, and, it is what it is, and it's okay, but that does happen. So I would say always, 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 obviously, the risks are there for you. You can read them, but take them as a grain of salt because you never know. And again, you only know your body best. Your medical team, talk to them and weigh the pros and cons of everything.
I was, I was gonna say, I don't know if it's necessarily caused it. I'm curious because I actually have an appointment next week for it, finally the allergies. But I'm
Yeah.
not saying that Ocrevus caused it, but making me more immunosuppressed and oh my fucking god, how do you immunocompromised? What the fuck was I saying?
She got so angry. She's like, "Oh my god."
Be Ocrevus has made me more immunocompromised, which has made it
Yes.
harder for me to fight things off, where
Mm.
all of a sudden I have developed allergies right after this last infusion. I don't know how correlated it is, but I will find out more. Other
And
than that, no, and I
that was the
think
last straw for Jenna. Jenna was
it
like,
was.
"Allergies after my infusion? I'm over it.
I
I'm
got
switching."
so freaking mad because I'm
That
like,
was bad.
dairy, living in Wisconsin, like, I can't have dairy, where I'm breaking out literally going to anaphylactic shock, and maybe I've had a dairy allergy, but my immune system was able to fight it off before, but now it's just
Mhm.
weakened, and
Yeah.
so I think it's just something to also when talking about other illnesses is some of the stats and stuff, people are gonna develop these illnesses no matter what,
Yes.
but it's
It's
just
genetics.
because yes,
Yeah,
because
and
it's
it's
like
environment. It's a perfect melting pot sometimes, so
yeah.
you have to take that into
But
consideration.
it's like if you're on Ocrevus and you report that you had X, Y, and Z, they're gonna put that as a, "Oh, this could be a potential side effect." Like, my doctor was talking about skin cancer with Mavenclad, and they're like,
Mhm.
"Well, you're a woman, you have very fair skin, you're out in the sun." A lot of people just develop skin cancer anyways. Many people in my family have skin cancer, and so it may just be prone no matter what, but we have to associate it and write it
Yeah.
down. So
Yeah.
just, like, keep that as a grain of salt too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great little nugget of information. This question was really interesting, and I had to research it. I learned a thing or two, and you're gonna learn a thing or two too. What are your thoughts on MOGAD versus MS? Have you learned much about the differences? So I'm gonna refer to this as MOGAD. Is that correct? I don't know, but it's better than spelling the little letters. But MOGAD versus MS. So here's the thing. I had to literally look this up because I was like, hmm. And for the smallest, slightest little millisecond, I thought I didn't have MS. I was like, "Oh my god, I have MOGAD." And then it was a fleeting little moment. It was so fleeting. But no, I definitely do have MS. So we're gonna learn this together. Am I gonna say the full thing? No. But it is a myelin oligodendrocyte antibody disease. Okay? They're both an autoimmune demyelinating disease of the central nervous system, right? So, like, kind of similar, kind of same, but different. MOGAD is identified by specific antibodies and often presents with more severe bilateral optic neuritis, while MS is typically defined by chronic progressive neurodegeneration. Now, this was the part where I was like, wait a second. And I read this to my husband at the same time. And he said, wait a second. We both were like, because I have, funny enough, bilateral optic neuritis. I can get it in both eyes. Now I'm assuming that's what bilateral optic neuritis means. I don't fucking know. I'm not gonna lie. Um, but it says that MOGAD is 15 times rarer than MS and rarely causes long-term disability between relapses. Interesting, right? But then I kept reading, and this is where my little bubble was popped because MOGAD patients generally test negative for CSF specific, I don't know how to say that, OCB. It's the bands in the spinal fluid. Typically, people test negative for that. Now, this is where I was like, damn, because when I had my spinal tap, which used to be a necessary part of getting an MS diagnosis, I tested positive for the
That
OCB.
is so interesting. Sorry,
No,
continue. I
go.
just had a
No, no.
thought.
No, what's your thought? Let's
I
do
was
this
just gonna say
live.
it's so interesting how they got rid of the spinal tap, then criteria
I know.
to be
Well,
diagnosed.
Well, there are more factors to figuring out whether something is MS or MOGAD. And this one is also what like really confirmed maybe I definitely just have MS because MOGAD lesions are often large and fluffy, their word,
Mm.
not mine, affecting the brain and the entire length of the optic nerve, whereas MS lesions specifically for me are pinhole size. Like I have
Yeah.
25 plus, but they're tiny little baby pinholes. That's how my doctor has described it to me. But I'm sure if a neurologist were to look at a MRI and see fluffy lesions, whatever the fuck that means, then they would be like, and then possibly because spine taps aren't necessary for an MS diagnosis, but I'm sure with the right criteria, it might naturally flow into,
Mhm.
you know what, we need to do a spine tap because now that we have the
Just to
MRI,
check it
your
out.
lesions,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. But if someone has optic neuritis, fluffy lesions, they're gonna probably most likely do a spine tap to see if you have the OCB, the bands. And if you're positive for the bands, then they're gonna probably reassess. And because again with MS, it's typically you don't have fluffy lesions, but you could. I just thought that was really interesting. So I learned a thing. Thank you so much for that question because I had no idea.
I had no idea either.
It was a roller coaster ride though, because genuinely it got me for a second. I was like, "I don't have MS." I was like, "Oh my gosh, why? Like, what? I'm gonna bring this up to my doctor immediately." And then I just kept reading, and I was
And I
like,
think that's, like, something where if you are wondering if maybe you have one or the other or wanting to explore, maybe it's not actually almost like, take it to your doctor, like, they will know you
absolutely.
best, and if you're reading about this and be like, "Oh, that sounds more like me," and you haven't had a spinal tap, talk to your doctor.
Yep. Absolutely. There's no harm in that. I say this with everything. If you are ever researching and you see maybe there's a treatment or maybe there's a supplement or maybe there's just something that kind of catches your eye, talk to your doctor.
Yeah.
Bring it up. Also use your own judgment. You know your body best, but talk to your medical team. Judge it yourself.
Our
See what
famous
your gut
words, "Talk
says.
to your medical team."
Yeah, our famous words. We're gonna put it on a hat. Ew, I don't want that on a hat. Okay. We can come up with cuter hats.
Yeah, we can go with cuter hats.
Yeah. Okay, so that kinda leads us into our next question. For someone starting Ocrevus, or I guess any treatment, and feels scared, what would you want them to know? Do it scared.
I love this type of question.
Yeah, I would say do it scared. It's okay to honor those feelings. It's okay to be scared. It is so okay.
Mhm.
I don't think I've ever done something not scared. But at the same time, what I was saying earlier about that mindset of just being okay with being scared, but then shifting it just ever so slightly. It's not to say like all of a sudden you have to like force yourself to be fake happy about it. Like, I'm so happy I'm here. Like, no. But just switching that mindset just ever so slightly to like, this is going to help me. This is going to heal me, treating your infusions or any type of treatment as like a little me time, a little spa day, like something fun. One of the most asked questions was if I actually did bring a cake to my infusion because I had posted about that. And I did. So it's like just making something that's not necessarily fun and nobody wants to be there, but just adding a little whimsy to it. I brought
Mhm.
a fucking cake to my infusion because I wanted to feel good. And I did a thing and I get to celebrate that, right? I have free will, I have autonomy, I can do that. So I did, and it's just doing it scared, then also shifting it a little bit to feel like, "All right, I can be scared about this and there's nothing wrong with that, but I can also be excited for what this might mean for me and what that looks like." And also returning to your foundation, your why. Why are you doing this? Why do you get up in the morning? Why do you wanna push forward? Is it for the future? Is it for your children? Is it for yourself? Like, what is it? What's your why? And defining that can really help when you're starting a new treatment and you feel scared, just returning to that reason.
Yeah, and I think recognizing your feelings and holding space for them, recognize that you're scared, you don't know what the future can be like, and I remember going into my first infusion being terrified. That all happened so fast of, like, a new diagnosis and getting
Yeah.
treatment. It depends, I guess not for me, but, like, it did take
Mhm.
7 months for me from when I got my diagnosis to be able to actually start the treatment, but, like, there is a lot happening and scrambling and trying to figure out what treatment. Recognize that you're scared, hold on to
Mhm.
that, and recognize that this is the start of something, but you're not alone. You have people around you, you have
Yeah.
other people, you have a community that understands you can lean on. Like, Ashley really got me through my first infusion. I was so
No,
scared. She gave me tips for it, and
I got you, girl.
it's okay to be scared.
Yeah.
You're not alone in that fear,
Mhm.
but just also know that this is something that's gonna help you no matter how frustrated or you don't wanna be there. Like, I didn't wanna be there, but it's your mind shift, and you're doing this for yourself and your future self, but that doesn't have to take away of you being scared. Both things can
Yes.
coexist,
Exactly.
and you
Those
are gonna
dual
get through it.
feelings.
That is
Mhm.
my biggest thing. If you are scared, show up and do it for yourself. I don't wanna say it gets easier, but you do get stronger.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You do get stronger and you have those tools to get you through it, and you do it once and you're like, "Oh, shit, I already did it. I can do it again," and you just keep doing
Mhm.
it, and you just keep going.
I'm scared to start Maven Cloud, but I'm also
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited the possibilities that it can bring me. With Ocrevus, it's like I was excited to do something where this may work. I was scared shitless, but
Yeah.
both things can coexist. And just remember
Mhm.
you're not alone and you are strong enough to do it. You got here. You made it through the hardest part of getting a diagnosis, and now you're doing something to help better yourself.
Period. We love it. We love that. Another question was, have you considered newer options like Ocrevus sub-Q injections? Thoughts
No,
on that?
sorry.
Um No. I learned about the sub-Q from my MS specialist, when they were, like, just testing it out, and I was like, okay." And I trust him with my life, quite literally, and if he thought that it would be a good fit for me, he would have brought it up as in, like, "You would be a good fit for this," and he hasn't, and genuinely at my Walk MS event, oh, that must be another rose, if I could just toss that in there. I did
Oh,
have my Walk MS event, and it was so cutie and just I loved it. I just love being in that environment. I think I will die on that hill. And
I will
I
not die
had
on that hill with you.
Wait, what? Why? It is so
The
nice.
I think for me, the MS walk just really freaks me out, and
Oh, that's fair.
it
Okay.
really does not do good for my mental health. Like, it sent me down a spiral the rest of
What?
the day, and it
No
is
way.
just yeah, it's
Okay, wait.
everyone's
I think we
different.
need to talk about this at in
Yeah, we'll
another
save it for a
episode
different
because
time, but
that's
it's
so
like
interesting.
it's yeah, everyone's different, so you'll die
Everyone's
on that hill,
different.
I will
You're
not.
right. You're like, I would rather not do that."
And that's how we recognize
Mhm.
that it's okay to have different opinions, it's okay to have different thoughts
Yes.
about treatment, it's okay to have different thoughts about your MS and everything, no one
Mhm.
needs to agree, and it's very individual to you, so that
Exactly.
reinforces the
We're
things you've been
opposites.
saying.
The opposites attract. That's me and Jenna. That is so interesting. Oh my god. Okay, wait. Okay, that's we'll talk about that. But I went to the Ocrevus booth and they were really pushing the sub Q and I was like, "I am so good." The next week, I was at my infusion place and they do the sub Q. And I asked the nurse, I was like, "Do you guys do a lot of that?" And he's like, "Actually, yeah. A couple people have switched to that and, more power to you. I think you should research it for yourself and see if that's something." Again, that goes back
It's
to
also
how do you
approved for
decide?
progressive MS, right?
Yes, it is.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's another treatment option for people with primary progressive MS, which is
Exactly.
really helpful for
Which is
people with that.
huge, huge, absolutely, but it goes back to deciding what you're willing to do, what you wanna do, like, for me, I like carving out time to do my treatment. The 4, maybe 5-ish hours that it takes, I love having that time to do whatever it is I want, create content, be with my husband, just sit there, roll, doom scroll. I just enjoy that time, and I view it as me time, and honestly, the community helped me get to that place because at first I was like, "Ugh," but again, going from 8.5 hours to 4 or 5-ish hours, not bad. I will take that. But I rather stay with something that my body is tolerating than possibly switch and like have to do that all over again. So personally, no, I'm okay. That question came, and then another person actually said, I'm starting Ocrevus sub Q in a month, worried about getting sick easily. So it was one of those things that I thought was really funny that someone's like, have you thought about this? And another person's like doing it. And I just, again, this is so
It's very
personal to
individual.
yourself. Exactly. It's whatever you want to do.
Well, like, for me, I was so quick to answer no, but the thought of having to deal with insurance again,
Yeah, that's
just, like,
another thing.
I'm like, "No," because, like, I spent 6
I'd
months
rather not.
fighting. Yeah, I spent 6 months fighting insurance to get Ocrevus approved because they were like, "It's so new," and then I have to do it through the drug program,
Mhm.
where if I wanted to switch to this version, I would still have to get 2 to 3 appeals from my insurance, which takes months. That is
Yeah,
why I had to start or tell them in March that I wanted to switch to Mavenclad to be able to take it in July. It takes that
yep,
long to deal with insurance where it's like to me, that gives me a headache, and I'm like, if I have to be
yeah.
stabbed anyways, I'm just gonna stay with what I have. I remember one nurse was like, "Well, why don't you just switch to this? It's quicker." And I'm like, "It's not the fact of, like, the ministering." Like, it's like, I don't like being stabbed. I'm gonna be stabbed in my stomach or
Yeah,
my arm, like, I already get stabbed, I'll just stay where I am and not
yeah.
have to deal with insurance or stuff. So, I am glad it's available and it helps people and it
Mhm.
works, but for me, the headache of insurance, absolutely not. The thought of switching a treatment just because it's administered a different way or it's quicker, I'm like, no, because it's gonna be awful with
Yeah,
insurance.
it's not enticing enough to deal with insurance or
Yeah.
to, like, have that whole hassle. It's funny because yours is like, "Insurance? No." Me, I'm like, "My body is fine where it's at. I'm not trying to play." Like, if something's not broken, why fix it type of
Mhm.
thing. So I'm like,
Well,
if my
that
body
too.
likes yeah, if my body likes the, like, slow administered infusion, I'm going to
Well,
stick with
I
that.
can't I have not been able to get my infusion below 5 hours. So,
Oh,
like,
okay.
my
I'm
body
on the
is not
fast.
gonna handle it in 10
Yeah.
minutes
Well
anyways, but I'm like, "No," like, I've never been
yeah.
able to do the fast one. I am still on a slow version, and I
Mhm.
still have to pause and, like, whatever, so it's not
Right, so you're like, so that's
I'm like,
definitely
"No,
not
I don't
an
want it in
option.
10 minutes, sorry."
You're like, "I don't want it in 10 minutes." Also, to address the worried about getting sick easily, I don't know I think the
I don't
efficacy of
either.
sub-Q versus infusion is the same, but as far as getting I don't think it causes more or less than the infusion. I think just being on an immunosuppressant drug in general is going to possibly do that, but again, it goes back to what we were saying of, like, just doing things to best set yourself up, and, I said no to a concert that I really wanted to go to just out of it's too risky right now. I just had an infusion, and I don't feel like putting myself in that position to possibly catch something, especially in, like, a concert. Ooh, I just love it because it's so fun, but it's okay. I said no, and that's okay. Um, no regrets. No regrets over here. But just kind of also shifting your mindset on that too, like remembering that you're taking this and within the sub Q, however long it takes, is like this is healing me. This is going to help me, help my body, and just kind of viewing that as that. And then whatever happens, let it happen. But not putting a lot of thoughts behind getting sick easily. Because I did feel, and it is really interesting that when I it's not saying like, okay, if you think about it, it'll happen. But when I did linger and talk about getting sick all the time, I felt like I just couldn't get out of it. I couldn't crawl my way out until I started gently shifting my mindset of like, okay, but I'm helping myself. I'm taking all the things I need to be taking. I'm doing my best. I'm prioritizing my health. I'm saying no to things that could possibly hurt or affect me. And when I look back, I'm like, oh, I crawled out of that little hole, the little
Well,
ditch
and
that I
it's
was
like
in.
if
That's
you're always
fine.
focusing on that, you're gonna be always scared and worried and not
Yeah.
enjoy things, and it
Yeah.
that's not to say don't worry or be scared or it is anxiety filling, but if you're
You have
only
to live
focusing
life.
on that, like, you're gonna miss out on other things.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Okay, surprise! We're cutting this into 2 parts. We did not think we were gonna be doing that, but the first half was very treatment centered and mindset centered, and the second half, we have a lot of questions about relationships and how to keep things spicy with limited spoons and things like that. So, also the power of faith and all
And
that.
just
So
more personal questions
yeah,
versus
more
treatment or
personal.
MS.
Yes. So we're going to break this up into 2 parts. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. We hope that you learned something. And again, if anything resonated or you're like, I'm curious about this, possibly you're curious about MOGAD or however the heck you're supposed to say it, MOGAD, bring that up to your doctor. Always consult your medical team. Always trust yourself. You know your body best. And we hope that you learned a thing or two because we sure did. and we enjoy having our time with you. So thank you so much for being here. I'm Ashley Rose. You can follow me on Instagram at arose.
And I'm Jenna, and you can follow me at MS with Jenna. Thank you for listening.
Love you, mean it. Bye.